You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
How does Lutheran theology contribute to the care of souls, especially those struggling with mental health issues? Concordia Seminary in St. Louis addresses this in the upcoming Theological Symposium this September. Stick around and find out more.
Today's episode of The Coffee Hour is underwritten in part by Concordia University, Nebraska. You can learn more about Concordia University, Nebraska at cune.edu.
Joining us today, Erica Pietsch. She's Director of Continuing Education at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. Erica, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Also joining us today, the Reverend Dr. Rick Mars. He's licensed psychologist and Senior Professor of Practical Theology at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. Dr. Mars, welcome back.
It's very good to be with you guys again.
We always enjoy our conversations with you and with everyone at Concordia Seminary, opportunities to learn more and to continue education at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. And looking forward to Theological Symposium this year. Sarah is already registered.
I'm already registered.
Didn't even have to wait for this episode.
Yeah, usually I wait for the episodes. I'm like, oh no,
and then starts registering during the episode.
Because one of the speakers told me about this. Yeah, I know. So I registered like 3 weeks ago.
So let's start with the relationship between the care of souls and mental health. What is that relationship, Dr. Mars?
Yeah, well, again, the church has been caring for souls for thousands of years, but we've become more aware in this last half century or so, 3/4 of a century, I guess, that people are struggling not just with physical illnesses, but with mental illnesses. And so I'm really excited that the seminary dean decided to, let's have a symposium completely on mental health issues and how the church can and should help people that are struggling with depression, anxiety, or a whole host of other sorts of mental health issues. And just very excited about how all this has come together and the speakers that we have coming and so forth. So, the theme, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand, Isaiah 41. And that's what we're hoping to have people realize, that the care of souls just does cut across all kinds of various struggles, Anfechtung, the German word that Luther would have used. And again, to point out that Luther and Walther and others struggled with mental health issues themselves back in their day. They didn't have the same sort of access to mental health care, quality of mental health care that we often do today. So,
have we seen changes or significant challenges to mental health in the last 10 or so years?
COVID.
Yes. Tell us more.
Well, yeah, just that things were already, ramping up. There was already seeing some increases in suicide ideation and just breadth of diagnoses of various mental health issues. But then COVID just shut everything down for a year, and people that were seeking mental health counseling had to do it all online. And now then a lot of people are still staying online for the mental health counseling. But before COVID, I was not a big supporter of online counseling. But for that year and a half, 2 years, where it became absolutely necessary for people, especially with things like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, people that are afraid that they're going to get a germ, an infection of some sort. And so I'm hearing from friends and relatives that many of those people still stay close to their laptops and do their counseling all online because they don't want to go out into the public situation, which might threaten their health in some way. So changed a lot. Now that I'm more of a supporter of online counseling, I'd rather have somebody find the right counselor for them that lives in that state, licensed in that state, but they could go just to their computer and find that person that's 300 miles away from them, but it's a right fit, rather than somebody who's 10 miles away from them but isn't a good fit. So,
in addition to the impact of COVID and perhaps the increase of online care for mental health, what are other ways that we've seen mental health care and spiritual care change in this time as well over the last 10 years or more?
Yeah. Christians becoming more involved in it. I mean, I tell people, we at Missouri Synod Lutherans got involved in it early on. We published a book called What Then Is Man in 1958. The year I was born, and I'm about to turn 68. And then we sort of stepped away from it. Now, What Then Is Man was written by a couple of psychologists, a psychiatrist, a couple of theologians. It was a wonderful early book trying to interface between theology and psychology and what we were learning about the human condition from psychology and psychiatry. But then we Lutherans kind of stepped away from that and haven't been involved for a lot of the last 40 years or so. But that's changed, I think, in the last 10 years or so. So we've had a number of people that are writing books about counseling Christians, Christian counseling from a Lutheran perspective. My book, Making Christian Counseling More Christ-Centered, we've been on here before and talked about, but there's like 5-6 other important authors that we'll talk about during the course of this because we've invited several of them to come and speak. So.
Why do you think that's changed in the Lutheran Church, that there's been more interest in that relationship between spiritual care and mental health care?
Yeah, just maybe a maturity that we finally come to that said, okay, we can learn about these things from psychology that can be helpful. First article issues, we call it creation area issues. People, well, I always often tell students, if a parishioner came into your office and said, Pastor, would you pray with me? And obvious pastoral question, well, yeah, what are we praying for? Well, I'm having this pain in my upper left quadrant of my chest and it's shooting down my left arm. Yes, you should pray with that parishioner, but pray with them while you're driving them to the hospital because they may be having a heart attack. We've never questioned, or rarely questioned anyway, the insights of medical field, physical sorts of diseases and heart attacks and things like that. But there have been enough LCMS laity and pastors that I think questioned, hey, if somebody just had more faith, if they just prayed harder, then their mental health issues would go away. We don't think like that for heart attacks or for cancer or whatever. We realize that there are real physiological things. And in the same way, because of early childhood experiences or because of genetics or because of adult trauma that we go through, there's things that go wrong inside our brains and our spirits. And like I said, Luther and Walther and others suffered with these things hundreds of years ago. Why shouldn't we be using the insights that we can gain from secular psychology when it's appropriate? And again, there's a lot of secular psychology stuff out there that's inappropriate. I'm embarrassed for my field. I still consider myself both a psychologist in a secondary way, but a pastor primarily. But yeah, there's just a lot of misguided stuff coming out of the field of psychology now. But to the point that psychology can be responsibly scientific, it can be helpful to us. So, and I think we Lutherans are at least starting to see that. And like I said, I've been presenting at the AACC, American Association of Christian Counseling, for 16, 17 years now, off and on. Lutherans are a mini voice in that group. That group is largely Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, Pentecostal. Lutherans make up 1 or 2% of that group. And it's a huge group of like 50,000 members in the AACC. So we're at least trying to make some inroads into being a Lutheran presence and trying to help non-Lutherans to realize that Luther's soul care theology can be beneficial for them when they are counseling people as well. You just can't counsel people if you don't understand. You can't counsel people well if you don't understand proper distinction of law and gospel, theology of the cross, two kingdoms, those sorts of basic Lutheran theological notions. And our non-Lutheran Christian neighbors who are in this field don't realize that. So.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned there are certainly within the field of mental health and mental health care, there are some misguided directions that we've gone in our society when it comes to mental health and mental health care. What are some pitfalls that we need to be mindful of or watch out for and avoid?
Well, the whole LGBTQ sort of emphasis that has gone on, the woke sorts of things that are going on. And we actually have one of our main plenaries, Dr. Mark Rockenbach, my colleague at the seminary, is going to be speaking about the queering the mind against reality and truth. So he's been avid on the task force for Synod on LGBTQ issues, and how can we respectfully and gently point people away from their misguided notions that they are a different gender or that they want to live as a homosexual lifestyle or whatever. There are good spiritual, theological things we can and should say to people that are struggling with LGBTQ temptations. But yeah, Mark will be covering that, I'm sure, very, very well. So,
are there other pitfalls, misconceptions in that relationship between spiritual care and mental health?
Yeah, I think the main thing for our non-Lutheran Christian counseling neighbors is that they often don't realize when they're using law when they can and should use gospel. I mean, a lot of what comes off as Christian counseling is, oh, good, you're a Christian. Now, if you follow these 6 steps, you'll be a less depressed, less anxious, happier, healthier Christian. And then people try those 6 steps and they don't apply them as well as they probably could have or should have. And then they feel guilty because they didn't apply them, and they don't realize the need for people to actually hear Jesus loves you despite the fact that you're struggling with depression or anxiety disorder or schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, and helping people to realize that coming to church and hearing the gospel preached to them and receiving the Lord's Supper and remembering their baptisms are all key parts of the care of souls. And again, the 98% of Christian counselors in the AACC don't understand that the same way we do as Lutherans. So that was one of the things we had to make a decision on early on when we were designing this symposium. Should we, there's some big name Christian counselors we could have invited, and I wanted to at some level, but we made a conscious decision. No, let's just keep this Lutheran in-house. And so all of our presenters, both for plenaries and I think for all the sectionals, are Lutheran, aren't they? Or almost all.
I believe so.
Yeah. So, again, there's a lot of high quality people out there, that aren't Lutheran that are doing some very good things for Christian counseling. I'm sure we'll talk about them. I speak about them in my book, quite often. But, we decided to make this a, Lutheran unified, LCMS kind of unified. Well, it's not all LCMS. There's some Wisconsin Synod and so forth, people that are coming because we've been working together with the Wisconsin Synod on a variety of different issues and so forth. So.
Yeah. We have more to share about the upcoming symposium at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis right after we take a quick break. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
At Concordia University, Nebraska, discover a distinctly Christian community that equips students to live by faith with courage, character, and conviction. Intentionally combining our Christian faith, Lutheran heritage, rigorous academics, and practical real-life experiences, we prepare students to fulfill a higher purpose in their vocations and life. Learn more about Concordia University, Nebraska at our website, cune.edu. That's cune.edu.
Welcome back to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
We're talking with Erica Pietsch, Director of Continuing Education at Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, and the Reverend Dr. Rick Mars, licensed psychologist and Senior Professor of Practical Theology at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. We've been talking about the upcoming symposium at Concordia on mental health and spiritual care. Dr. Mars, you mentioned that the theme is Isaiah 41. Tell us a little bit more about the theme behind this symposium.
Yeah, and we actually have, and actually Erica can probably talk more about that.
Okay.
We have a painting that is being used as, what do you call it?
Inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah. That particular verse just is communicating that the Lord is taking care of us and coming down and caring for us with his strong right hand, his righteous right hand. And so the painting is actually a human hand that's trapped in some rope and trying to reach up, but unable to, but the strong, righteous right hand of God is reaching down. And again, that's just kind of the image that, Stephen Pietsch, the dean of continuing ed, and, wanted to communicate to the people that are signing up, and it's going to be the picture theme for the entire symposium. So.
Mm-hmm. Erica, do you have more to add?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, that it's pulling, that we can't do it by ourselves, especially people with mental health, that God pulls us out of that darkness into the light. And Sarah Marlott, who some people might know,
I thought
is
so.
actually the artist, and actually the LCMS, Missouri Synod, has commissioned her to do so. So at some point, the original artwork will probably be displayed somewhere here in the International Center.
Oh.
We are getting, as Concordia Seminary, we are getting the privilege to use it in all the different promotional ways and so forth. But we're so excited that Sarah Marlott is, those of you that know her artwork know how special it is and how she does such a great job of pulling biblical themes into her artwork. So we've never done this before. That I know of, we have a theme and finding original artwork for it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't actually use the whole verse. So we should have. Now I have it. Verse 10, fear not, the Lord says, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So again, those of us that are fearful, struggling because of mental disorders or other sorts of struggles in our lives, know that He is there with us all the time. So,
Erica, who will be presenting at the upcoming Theological Symposium?
Who is not presenting in the world of Lutheran mental health ministry? We have a long lineup. We just kept adding people, and finally we were like, okay, we need to stop. So Rick Mars, here with us today, is going to kick off the whole thing, which is so appropriate and will make sense. We have 3 plenaries. He did mention Mark Rockenbach, but before him, we will have my immediate supervisor, Stephen Pietsch. Our names are kind of the same, except for an extra letter.
Confusing.
A lot of people are confused, but I don't have an Australian accent, so that's
fair.
Away.
That gives it away.
And then we're super excited. Our 4th plenary is going to be Beverly Yankee with doxology, and she's going to talk about that intersection of faith and psychology. So that's going to be awesome. But then in addition to that, we have so many sectionals. I don't even know the exact number. But we have pastors and social workers and psychiatrists and counselors, faculty, people involved in mental health ministry at their church. Chaplains and health and wellness educators. We actually have someone from Concordia Plans was it last year, a couple of years ago, they launched the mental health program. And a lot of people are using that, but we'll be able to find out more at Symposium about it.
Are there ones that you're looking forward to specifically, Erica?
I've actually never heard Beverly Yankee speak, which is so surprising. We have met each other, and she is lovely even in her emails. So
she's the joy.
It's super fun. I do have a new friend from my church. I go to Concordia Kirkwood down the street. And she is as of this past January, our director of mental health ministry at Concordia Kirkwood. So she's going to be doing a sectional, which is super exciting. We also have one of my coworkers, Paul Flo, who works in the Center for Hispanic Studies. His brother is local, and John Flo is a psychiatrist, and he's going to be doing a sectional. I could go on and on. Go to the website and you'll find out all about it.
Dr. Mars, what do you want participants to gain from their time at Theological Symposium this year?
Yeah, well, I hope that those that come, maybe if they have specific issues, that they find a speaker that matches with their specific needs, insights, and they can then have a relationship with that person on into the future. Because again, the field of mental health is so broad that, we can't go into detail on all the various, diagnoses in the DSM-5. But we've at least hit on many of them. Some of them that I'm most excited about, Heidi Goehmann, who's also been authoring several books. You guys have her on there.
I can't believe I forgot
Heidi.
She's the one that told me about this.
Emotions in the Gospel, Laying a Foundation. So I think that's based on her book.
There's a whole coffee hour series on that.
A whole
by the way.
series. It is excellent.
Yes.
We can put that in the show notes. I'll make a note.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
One of our own new professors, Dr. James Fikincher, who's actually one that he made the suggestion to the previous dean to say we should have a symposium just on mental health issues, and that's what got this going. It wasn't pushing from Rockenbach and Mars and Pietsch, right, even though Pietsch is now in charge of it. But Kevin was the previous dean. So, but some of the others, just scrolling down through here, Dr. Stephen Saunders, now emeritus professor of psychology at Marquette University, but he's going to be talking about serious and persistent mental illnesses. And our own Mark Barr is talking about individual confession and absolution. Where's the one?
I think we've done a series with most of these speakers.
I think we have with many of them. Yeah.
I think the committee did an excellent job of making sure we were covering most of the big topics. You're like, okay, wait, do we have anyone talking about this? No, we don't. Who can we ask? So we spent a lot of intentional time on that.
Victor Veith is coming to talk about child abuse and preventing child abuse, minimizing child abuse. He's been doing this throughout his life. He's a lawyer, actually, even in the Wisconsin Synod, but runs a Zero Abuse Project out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and just this past year, a number of us contributed to a book that he edited on child abuse. So I wrote a chapter. Stephen Saunders wrote a chapter. Others, and it was also a connection between ELCA, LCMS, and Wisconsin Synod, all with authors writing together. So at least we had one topic that we could all come together and say, child abuse is very bad. We should be doing more to minimize it and prevent it from happening. So.
Why is this topic important to both of you? Why is this so exciting to be something that you're covering in a symposium at the seminary, Erica?
Sure. It's so personal, and as we've mentioned, it's always been a big topic, but it's become more and more important for not only pastors, but people that have family and friends dealing with mental health, or people that are dealing with mental health themselves, to feel comfortable within the church to talk about it. The other thing that I'm interested in is, and there's going to be some presentations on it, where does the pastor stop and bring in a counselor or psychiatrist who can do more, just like you were saying with the heart attack. I know from family that mental health specifically, one of my family members said, I think I'm having a heart attack. Turned out it was an anxiety attack, but so severe that for that person it felt like a heart attack. So just not having it be a taboo subject, but to have a safe space to talk about it.
Dr. Mars, what about you?
I mean, it is one of those, we want pastors to be highly involved in the spiritual care of souls of their own parishioners, but pastors tend to be experts in the second and third articles about Christ and about the Holy Spirit bringing us all to faith. But pastors tend not to be experts on first article issues like heart attacks or schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. And we're hoping that this will at least give many of them a starting place. And again, we're getting a number of counselors, Christian counselors who are Lutheran, saying, we want to come to this. I just talked to the people who are I think just a week or two ago, you had Kathy Von Kampen on from Concordia University, Nebraska. Because I went up and spoke to their group of students, and they're coming and wanting to contribute and stuff as well. So
wow,
very good.
Can I add one more thing to that really quick?
And
I made a note of Kathy Von Kampen, so thank you, from Concordia, Nebraska. One of the things that people have asked for, but we also wanted to make sure we were intentional as we've been getting assistance from Concordia Plans for this. We are working on having at least one counselor on hand, as well as identifying first aiders that can be available, because some of these topics obviously are going to be pretty intense. And if something triggers somebody in the audience or whoever, to be able to have somewhere to go And we are also working with Glenn Nielsen to have at least one comfort dog. So
Yes.
that's always helpful.
What do we need to know to attend this year's Theological Symposium at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis? I don't know if we mentioned dates and things like
no,
that.
we haven't.
So thank you for that.
Sure.
The Theological Symposium this year is September 22nd and 23rd. It's always around that time every year. That's a Tuesday and Wednesday. You have until September 8th, actually midnight on September 8th, to register. And to register, I always say the big long URL, but I realized recently that if you go to our website, csl.edu, you can go to the search box and type in 2026 Theological Symposium, and you will get there. But in the meantime, it's also under resources and continuing education. Theological Symposium, and you can go there to register.
It's pretty easy to find if you go to csl.edu. I searched for it the other day. Yeah, it's pretty easy to find, and one of those rotators on the homepage there as well. What else do we need to know in terms of planning to attend? Like if we're coming from out of town, make plans for lodging, things like that. What are some tips for that?
Lodging is very limited if you want to stay on campus, but we have some great rates with hotels nearby. My personal favorite is the Cheshire Inn. Mm-hmm. It's also in walking distance. September is usually good weather. Since you mentioned other things, there's just we always have some fun. I mean, the whole symposium is fun, right? But we also have some fun things, and it's also first come, first serve. LCMS Foundation for the last several years has been sponsoring a mini event the day before. The last couple of years, it's been a Cardinals baseball game, but the Cardinals are not in town this September. In the past, we would play have a golf day at the Highlands at Forest Park. But this year, they have several spaces for a decent-sized group at Top Golf in Midtown. So I've heard, I've never been, but even if you don't play golf, probably especially if you don't play golf for real, Top Golf is fun.
It's kind of like bowling and golf together, like the whole Top Golf experience. Yes.
My husband calls it the Dave and Buster's of golf. Yeah. He's a very serious golfer, so yeah, he won't be attending. But it's fun, and it'll be similar to other events that LCMS Foundation has done for us with food and drinks, and it's just going to be great. And then we also, for a second year in a row, have this symposium. It will be during Jambalaya Fest. With Forged by Fire and Pastor Paul.
Yep.
Great food.
Very good. September 22nd and 23rd, Theological Symposium at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. Our guest today, the Reverend Dr. Rick Mars, licensed psychologist, senior professor of practical theology, all at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. Dr. Mars, thanks for being our guest.
Thank you for having us.
And Erica Pietsch, she's the director of continuing education at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Again, you can find more information at csl.edu. You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour is a production of KFUO. This program and our station are dependent on listeners just like you. To support KFUO Radio, our podcast, and all the other programming, please make your gift or pledge today at kfuo.org/give and help us continue sharing the good news of Christ for you anytime, anywhere. kfuo.org/give.